Well, I love Randi. She is so fun and funny and wise. And what a great conversation about stages of life and letting go and parenting from a place of an open heart, but also not helicopter, not that hanging over, letting our kids find themselves and yet being there, obviously.
Yeah, she has a beautiful story about her own parenting, and now she's writing a book referencing pickleball and parenting, which is awesome. And
bring it together.
She just came off the pickleball court to do the podcast. She got a banged up eye, and so it's so awesome. She's just about as authentic and raw a parent as I've seen. So you guys are gonna love her. Make sure you listen.
Yes, she is awesome.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We're very grateful that you're joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking with Randi Crawford, and she is a certified life coach who's worked with hundreds of families, teens, and young adults nationwide, helping them navigate one of life's trickiest transitions, growing up and letting go. And so this month we were talking about stages of life for August, so this is fitting in just perfectly. Her straight shooting, unapologetic, and deeply relatable parenting videos on social media resonate deeply with moms who feel unseen, unsure, or stuck in the shift from full-time parent to part-time guide. Ain't that so many of us when we get to that transition? She's currently working on a must-have parenting book, not another baby book, but a real talk playbook for raising teens and launching young adults with confidence, grit, and way less over parenting, whether it's staying out of their love lives, resisting the urge to fix every problem. I have to raise my hand on that one, and learning to let them fail. Randi helps parents step back without falling apart. With heart, humor, and hard truths, she is a rising voice for today's modern family, and we're so grateful to have her here today. So thank you for joining us, Randi.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much, and I really look forward to this conversation with you ladies. Thank you.
Oh boy, we were just having a little pre-talk here, and we were discussing those teen years, and we've all had the teens, and I think we all have a little PTSD from the teens. Like I remember it like it was yesterday, although it was quite a few years ago. But I'm super excited for this conversation. I think anyone who's listening and either has a teen on the way or a teen that's passed by, we're gonna have something for you. And by the way, this is a very different time to be having teens than it was when, say, Marci and I were teens ourselves. So this is going to be a great conversation. Randi, how did you come to do this amazing work?
Well, I'll answer that, but I want to stop and say what you just pointed out, I think is the number one challenge that parents have today. And not everybody recognizes it. You just worked it right into the conversation. But the truth is, parenting a teen today is so different than parenting a teen even 10 years ago.
Yes.
It is not the same, and we can't parent them the same. And so that is just a really critical point to stop on right there. I just love that you worked that in right there.
Yeah, the whole world is so different. It's such an interesting time. And so, staying awake, staying aware, staying open to the changes and being flexible is just key. I mean, it's key to parenting anyway, but especially I think at this for teens and
for sure. It's really, really, really hard for them. And I think it's equally hard for parents because I'm a Gen Xer. We just don't understand. I'll go back and answer your question, and I'm going to work anthropology into this because it's interesting. I started and was a co-founder of a public healthcare company for menopausal women for many years. And
Well, we're gonna have that conversation next.
Yeah, that's a whole nother talk we need to have,
okay.
Randi.
I'll
So
come back. I can talk menopause all
yes.
day.
Yeah.
And that company sort of came to an abrupt end when my kids were 2 and 5, and they were much younger. And I became the stay-at-home mom. And as you guys know, you say I'm going to not work for 1 year, and 1 turns into 5, turns into 10, and 10 years go by, and you're busy. You're volunteering, you're in the classrooms, and all of a sudden you see the writing on the wall. You see that your kids are going to be gone, or they need you much less. And I remember so vividly my husband making this comment to me, which is laughable. He's like, Randi, what's fun? Like, go do something fun. And that just gave me pause. And I was like, fun? What's fun? Like, because you're just in go mode, especially as the parent of a teen, right? You're just going all the time and checking off boxes. You are never having the time to stop and smell the roses. And so I just said, you know what? Okay, let's have some fun. So I walked into the mall. I got myself a job at Anthropologie because I love the store. Now, I don't love shopping and I don't know anything about retail, but I'm like, shopping has to be fun, right? So I get this job and I call my husband and I'm like, Mike, I'm working with a bunch of young 20 somethings. They gave me the job. But then I kind of freaked out and he's like, Randi, you can always quit. And again, when a man just says that, like, you can just quit, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not quitting anything. Like, I'm in retail now. So I was so proud of myself, and I have this job and I'm having a lot of fun. But while I'm there, I'm working with all the people that I love. So the gals that are my managers and my bosses, they're all like in their, late 20s, early 30s. The customers are my age. And so I'm surrounded by women. And next thing I know, I'm constantly like the go-to. I'm giving people advice. And very soon it becomes clear. They're like, Randi, you need to be a life coach, which always sounded to me kind of like, a white coat and, I know things. And I'm like, I don't know anything. You know what I mean? I have 2 kids and I've always been this person, but I'm not that person. And then one day, really, I mean, again, if you're into this woo-woo stuff, the universe sort of gave me this message and I was introduced to Jay Shetty, who I never knew who he was. I learned that he's a life coach, like he has a program.
Yes.
And I go through the program and I really loved everything about him and his message. And so I get certified. And at the time, ladies, my goal was to work with menopausal women because I'm like, this, I know, like, you can't take this out of me. And I see the women that come into the store that are, menopausal and they're trying clothes and they're cranky because COVID
They don't fit.
everything, nothing fits. The light sucks,
It's too hot.
You're hot, you're having a hot flush, you're just having a day. And I always would make people laugh. And I'm like, you know what? This is my lane. And right around the time, right when I got certified, actually, I got a TEDx talk. And so when I give the talk, all of a sudden, all these moms started calling me, but not to work with them, but to work with their daughters. And so that was a really big pivot. I did not expect that. That's not why I started. But Lord knows I love working with girls. I mean, nothing makes me happier than helping give a young person confidence. And then that just grew into me giving talks to moms and daughters, and then, so on and so on. So now when I work with girls, I work with a lot of, teens that are athletes or college girls around the country. And I work with their parents because it became so glaringly clear to me that a lot of the reasons that these girls are having the issues that they're having is because they don't have the confidence, and because social media and all these digital influences in their lives have just literally stripped them of who they are and turned them into someone that they think they should be. And so that's where I'm at.
Wow. Oh my God. And I didn't know about the Jay Shetty thing. Oh, I love him so much. I could listen to him all day, every day. And then his wife, of course, is
Isn't she
famous.
stunning? She's stunning.
Ooh. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. This is awesome. So,
That's
so
great.
yeah, so part of what you were saying is I thought you were going to go into like, well, you have to work with the parents too. And that's something that Marci and I started doing because we were doing the same thing. We were actually started out, my teens were having issues, her friends were having issues. The whole group of them was having issues. A lot of it was around social media and identity and just the stress of the phone. Basically, they just wanted to hide. And so we started there, but we quickly realized that a lot of it was the parents too, which I know we're going to talk about in a little while. So we quickly realized that when we were doing these sort of live workshops with these teens, As soon as we brought the parents in, it was a completely different dynamic because so much of what's going on right now in the world is the parent is like kind of pointing the finger and, the kind of old school, like if you just did it like we did it, then, you're not going to have these problems. Well, as you're quickly going to have this conversation with everyone that that is not the case. Not even 10 years ago, not even 5 years ago. Even my daughter's graduated from college now, and I think it's very different now even than it was for her. So talk
World's
about
moving fast.
yeah,
Moving
It
so
really
fast
is.
right now.
and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. So talk
Yeah.
about this social media thing and really specifically with girls, what's
Well,
happened?
I mean, the social media thing, we don't have enough
We
time on this show to talk
no,
about it,
no, no,
but
no.
I'll tell you a funny story actually about this actually. I was giving a talk a couple of years ago to an NCL group. Do you guys have NCL where you are? It's like a
Mm.
mom-daughter. So it's like a mom-daughter volunteer organization where you get a lot of
Oh.
hours and they're wonderful organizations. But of course, I could never do it because it's a lot of hours with your daughter. I was like, well, my daughter will volunteer. Why am I doing all this work? But
Yeah.
I give talks at a lot of them. And I was giving a talk to this group they were 13-year-old girls. And this was fascinating. I talked for about 30 minutes, and about 30 minutes in, and I was watching all the girls. It was an intimate group of about, I want to say 25 to 30 people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And they were all looking at me, which I know is a clue that they're actually listening. They weren't staring at their phones. They were none of that
Right,
because
right.
I wasn't preaching to them. I wasn't like, girls, you have to get off your phone. You have to know better. That's not what you do.
Yeah.
But about 30 minutes into my talk, and we're just talking about the dangers of social media and understanding how you can control it instead of letting it control you. And I'm really feeling good. And in the middle of this mom, and I talk about her in my book because it's so fascinating. This mom just jumps up and goes, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay. I don't understand. I am on Instagram and all I do is see cute videos of animals. And you're talking about the dangers. And my husband tells me there's dangers, but I just don't agree. I don't think that there's dangers. Now you have to see my mouth hit the floor, the steam coming out of my ears, because first of all, in 2 seconds, she negates everything I've just said. And it was such a beautiful thing because rather than answer her, I was quiet. And then, like, the girls, one by one, started piping in. These young 13-year-old girls going into high school. And they said, well, actually, what Mrs. Crawford's saying, it really hits home with me. One of them said, I was staying up till 2, 3 in the morning. I wasn't getting any sleep and I was falling asleep in class. And my parents, got notified by the teachers. And so, and each one of them sort of stood up and explained instead of me having to explain
Mhm.
that we are all on a different algorithm, right? And so the
Yes,
three of us
yes.
could be sitting here right now and look at our phone after this call, and mine might be all sports, and yours might be all animals, and yours might be all, so it's just so different. And so the fact that that mom did that, it was so interesting to me because, first of all, I was like, wow, you need to read the room, because what it told me about her was that, imagine you're her daughter and you have an issue. Are
Yeah.
you going to that mom? Are you going to her with your issue with something really
Right.
deep? I mean, we're talking porn, sex, all of it. Of course
Right.
you're not, because this is a woman
Right.
that believes that everyone is looking at cute, fuzzy animals. So,
Yes.
that to me is probably one
Yes.
of my favorite stories. I mean, not
Wow.
at the time. I was very, very angry and shocked because it
Yeah.
just made me just say, like, you cannot be a parent and have your head in the sand. Our
That's
kids are
true.
exposed to so much online today that it is unimaginable. And I myself, listen, I don't know if you ladies have ever done this, but of course I've tried it because I'm a coach and I hear about it all the time from the girls. So I just went in there and I typed in Pornhub. I'm like, let's just see what this is, thinking I would get asked a lot of questions before I was allowed on the site. Oh, no,
Right.
no,
Mhm.
no, no, no. Like, I immediately was like trying to delete. It was
Yeah, and
awful.
good luck trying to get rid of it.
Oh my gosh, I can't
Right.
even tell you. So that's what all our kids have to do, is type in any of this stuff, and these
Yes.
images are in their face. And for
Yeah.
anybody that thinks that that isn't happening is really just not paying enough attention, because that's
Yeah.
what the young boys are doing. And unfortunately, that's what they think that a normal relationship looks like. And then the
Exactly.
young girls are all watching the videos of the very skinny girls and
Yeah.
what they eat in a day. And so, it's It's a lot. It's just a lot. And we need to teach our kids. See, to me, the key isn't to say, get off your phones. You shouldn't be on social media. The
Right.
key is to teach that everybody wants to be in control and everybody likes goals, right? We all want to have a goal. So it's like you say to them, set yourself a goal, because our phones tell us how much we've been on each week. So if it says you're on it for, let's just say 7 hours, and that's low, right? See if you can be like that girl that gets it to 6 hours, and then you keep wanting to bring it down. Because if they feel like they can control that narrative, they start to realize that this phone is just so toxic, but they have to come to that. We can't
Yes.
put that on them.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like what you were saying with that woman speaking. The fact that the girls were the ones who stood up and refuted what she was saying was probably very powerful. And I think it was smart of you. And maybe you were just in shock, but to have that pause before you start talking and then let them speak up. I hope that mom saw that and heard that. But whether they did or not, good on those girls for standing up and speaking that. And sometimes they need that. They need someone to kind of challenge them. And then the other thing that you said at the beginning that I loved was that you have to control it and not let it control you. And so moms like that and lots of us may not realize how much this algorithm and all of these, whatever our drug of choice is, TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, is controlling us. And then even just other things, just that the phone itself making that beep and you're like, oh, got to see what that is. Like all the notifications, that constant checking your phone, all of that is us being controlled by the device and the apps and all of that. And so having the awareness first, it's always awareness first. And I love that idea of seeing how many hours are you on? And then is that what you want? Is that, is that
Well,
what
that's
you
the
want
way
for
I
your
say to
life?
do it. Like, try to do a digital detox, because see, we have to know where we're starting from, right? And it's scary when you look at your phone. When I get mine whether it's Sunday morning or whatever, and I look at my phone and it's like, you've been on this device 5 hours and however
Yeah.
many minutes a day. And I'm like, I have, so
Yeah.
that's why when you look at that, that'll give you an understanding of where you are. And then you can set goals and say to
Right.
yourself, but see, the thing that's really scary, ladies, and I don't want to make this crazy, but I'm a stylist still at Anthropology, and I work there on the weekends.
Oh,
'Cause I love
that's
it. I just
that's
love being around
awesome.
women. I can't be doing nothing, right? So
Yeah.
Sundays I work, and the scariest thing I see, oh, you're not even going to be laughing when I tell you this. The scariest thing I see are when moms come in with the babies with the strollers, and those little ones are holding up an iPad. I kid you not.
Yeah.
And they don't
Yes.
even know how to make eye contact with me. So,
No.
like, we have a lot of people that bring dogs into our store, puppies,
Mm.
everything. That little toddler won't even make eye contact with a puppy because they
Yeah.
are staring at that screen. And it takes
Yeah.
everything in my soul to not say, listen, you're just handing over the keys to the liquor cabinet to your 1-year-old. What do you
Yeah.
think how do you think
Yeah.
they're going to cope when they're
I know.
5, 6, 7, 10, 15? These kids can't even won't be able to interact
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
other people. And that is frightening to me.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just reading something about, Zuckerberg and all the powers that be, the Silicon Valley. Like all their children are not allowed any devices, and
Yeah.
they are trained in Montessori's. Like, not where our kids, in the public school, we're going to school and, oh, got to have a computer, and half of them are doing homework on their phone, and
Mhm.
oh, and now everyone's getting AI trained. They're not doing that. They would never do that. They know how toxic that is. Last week we had a psychologist, I think, or psychiatrist. I can't remember what he was.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and he was talking about, like, if you don't, allow your kids very early on, you will have beaten the curve and you'll be doing so much better, right? Like, just
Right.
don't introduce it just
Hold off.
because other parents are like
Yeah.
certainly not until at least they're teenagers,
I
right?
believe I believe I just made a TikTok about this. It's coming to me. I think last week there was a study that came out that actually said if you hold off till the age of 13, the rate
Yes.
of suicide goes down significantly. I was shocked by that. Like,
Yeah.
suicide
Wow.
goes down significantly if you can hold off till they're 13.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That
There was a lot more to the study, but it's just like you
that's
just want to
powerful.
say to people,
Yeah.
just because everyone else has the phone, the longer you can hold off, the better you are. And then
Yeah.
certainly we now know enough, right? To say you
Yeah.
can't have your phone in your bedroom at night. Like,
No.
again, had I known that, my kids luckily are 22 and 25, so they sort of missed the whole, none of them are really into posting much either. But had I
Yeah.
known what I know now, there's no way they would have had a phone in their bedroom at night. Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The whole, we could go on and on about this. I want to talk about what it sounds like you're maybe a little bit famous for. And that is those teenage years when you're trying to create some balance with them of this letting go piece. And once again,
Yeah.
it's a much different world than it was. There's crazy people, putting dollar bills on the ground that is laced in something toxic. Kids are getting roofied in crazy places. Like it's a completely different place than where I was. So how do we even start to let go, to let our kids try and be kids a little bit, driving, like all the crazy things. Talk about that. Talk
Okay,
about
I love to talk about this because again, this is just something that's so simple, but everything I'm saying is so simple, right? But it's not easy. It's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Because again, we are in such a fast-paced world, as you pointed out, Marci. We're just
Mhm.
going, going, going.
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Cour Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Cour Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
Lifetime.
right.
Buy it once and we'll keep
Lifetime.
updating it too.
Yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Cour Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it.
Yeah.
The thing is, what nobody really takes the time to do anymore is to insist on family dinners and I'm not talking about every night. It doesn't work, especially when you have two kids that
Right.
play sports.
Right.
But a lot of people get caught in this trap, right? Of even on the one day a week that, let's just say, their kid is free and is not overscheduled. Then the kid is like, come on, I want to go to the beach with my friends, or I want to go to In-N-Out or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
you're that mom that's like, well, I mean, they have activities 6 days out of the week. Like, let's let them go to do XYZ. I think what we have to do without any hesitation as a family unit is insist that we get back to being together for one family dinner a week. That's the minimum, but I'm saying we have to be realistic. So let's just start there, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
our kids get our values from us and from what they see, and they listen to us and they mimic us, and they are like sponges. And so if we insist on that, that is where we build our values. And then take that a step further. All parents I know, certainly including myself, number one thing that we do is when our kids come to us with a problem, the minute that they start talking, we are listening in one ear, and in this ear, we're like, how are we going to fix that? You know what I mean? We never, right? That's what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hear that they're
That's
having
a
a
tough
problem with
one.
the teacher, and in this year, we're like, I'm going to email that teacher. I'm already emailing that teacher in my mind.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She gets that extra credit. I took her to the, you know what I mean? So it's like we have to listen. We really have to listen to our kids. And I don't think we do a good enough job of that today, because what we see, we're like, listen, we've already been down this road. We see you're about to like make some really bad choices. Let's just take sports because that's the lane I work in. And B, today kids in sports it's just so over the top with the money and the NIL and everything that
Mhm.
parents are over the top ridiculous with sports.
Yep.
So say they have a kid and that kid excels in a sport, but they're like in second grade. What parents are doing is they're taking them out of all of other sports. They're specializing them at this young age.
Yeah.
And this child might be saying, you know what, mom, like, I still want to be on the basketball league because all my friends are doing. Nope. Like, you are the baseball kid, and this is what we're going to have you do. And so if we would just stop and listen to our kids at a young age, and, if we were to bring this all the way back, right? So let's just take them all the way back to young kids. If you have the young kids, I would say start letting them make choices at a young age that are age appropriate. Like let them pick the outfit, lay out two, let them pick one. Say,
Yeah.
these are the meals, like let them pick one. And as they get older, make those choices more appropriate. This way, your child is starting to learn how to make choices, which, believe it or not,
Yes.
22-year-old girls can't do. I mean, they're still
Yeah.
wondering like what they should have for lunch. I am
Yes.
not joking you. Okay. So
Getting
that's just,
overwhelmed. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
overwhelmed and they can't make a
Yeah.
decision because their mom has made their decision their entire life. So
Yes.
that's when you have the really young kids. I say you start there and you move forward. You move into when your kid comes to you, you don't even talk, you just listen and you ask questions as if you are a coach. And what that means is they say something, you reflect it back. This is what you
Mhm.
heard. And they might say, oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. And then you'll say, oh, well, what were you saying? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Mhm.
Because we don't listen to our kids. We listen, but we never want them to be uncomfortable. So we want to fix it. And then we're
Yes.
like in this
Oh,
loop. And
true.
it's a very negative loop.
Yes,
Yes.
that wanting them not to be uncomfortable and finding the ability to say, actually, that's a helpful emotion to have. And if you don't start to have it and learn how to deal with it yourself, same thing with it kind of to me makes me think of like why are we handing babies phones? Because they're uncomfortable, they're making us uncomfortable. We want to just do the thing. And so we hand them the phone, but now they've lost so much learning how to not just be entertained all the time. Or same thing with our teens, like they've got a problem and we're solving it for them rather than letting them figure things out. And boy, I struggled with that one. I still do sometimes. And my kids my oldest is about to turn 30. By the time I was in high school, he was in high school, I was able to let him do his thing more. But you have this thought, well, you let them, people will say, oh, just let them, and then they'll figure it out. But when you see it going badly, then what? That was one of the ones that I kind of would struggle with. Like, how far do you let them fail before you
Yeah.
step in? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm listening to you say that, right? And I've been at
Yeah.
talks with women and then they'll start raising their hand and giving me all these specific situations. Well, what would
Yeah.
you do in this situation? What would you
Yeah.
do in that situation? And I don't believe that there is a one size fits all, right? So I really
Of
Yeah.
don't.
course.
And I think that every family is very different and every kid is very different. So one kid might need a little bit more support than another
Hmm.
kid. So I think
Mm.
Right.
that we have to know as parents, we have to know our children, right? And we have to
Yes.
know when is the right time to step in. But I think that, I mean, obviously, so for me, the basic rule of thumb is, first of all, if they're in any type of a danger or anything like that, danger to themselves or danger to their friends or anything in that scenario, you're jumping in with both feet, like you're sprinting to help them.
Yeah.
If it's something like, let's just take grades at a younger age, that was something, that was always very, very important. And you hear parents talk about that all the time. But at some point, they have to learn a consequence that if they don't turn in their homework, they're going to get a bad grade. They have to be able to sit with that because they have to know what that feels like. Our kids don't feel wins today because they never really feel a failure. And when you don't feel a failure,
Absolutely.
you don't feel the win. We are robbing them of
Absolutely.
that. And that is
Yeah.
the most frustrating thing to me ever. So when
Yes.
you ask, like, no, it's not easy to do. It is the worst thing to do to watch your kid be uncomfortable. We moms would like chop off our left arm before we watch our kids sit in discomfort.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
natural consequences for the things that are not really going to, take them off of a major path in their life or
Yeah.
whatever, they should feel natural consequences. And if it's something that you're like, oh, this one thing, then of course I say support your kid. And
Right.
when you need to jump in that extra mile and when you're like, this one's going to hurt, but they have to get it. They have to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also talk about staying out of your kids' love lives. Talk about that a little bit because
Well, I mean,
my
I could go, this is another one we could talk
I know.
about for
I know, but
another hour.
just the one-on-one. Like I know like my daughter would bring a couple boys home and I'm kind of trying not to have the hairy eyeball. But by the time I'm staying open, right? But at some point it's like this is not going to go well. Like that's a hard one for me because you
Yeah.
don't want to choose your kids' friends or boyfriends or whatever. Like
I
again,
know.
is that just a gut mom feeling? Like, yeah, I don't think so, right?
Okay, again, I think it's different in high school than in college. I really do.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will tell you that the level of detail that moms insert themselves into their kids' love lives at the college level is absolutely absurd. Like, I think about my own parents that were married at that age and having kids, and you have moms like writing into mom groups at colleges with, a couple 100,000 women. Well, you know what I mean? My daughter, the boyfriend hasn't kissed her yet. And I'm like, oh my God, stop, just stop. That's
Yeah.
too much. In high school, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, yeah, there's certain cringy boyfriends, but again, our daughters have to learn. Again, if the guy is dangerous or like a weirdo or like that, no, we're kicking him to the curb. But if it's just someone that clearly is going nowhere in life and you're like, this guy, she's going to figure that out because you've raised an incredible young human being with good values. And so if we try and push her away from him, it's just going to push her closer to him. They've got to learn by natural consequences. And maybe by the third date, they're like, Mom, like that guy was a real knucklehead. What were you thinking letting me date him? Because I wanted you to feel, I wanted you to feel that and you to come to that conclusion. But if you're going to have the conversation with her, just keep it open-ended. And if she asks you your opinion, then absolutely jump in with your opinion if you feel inclined.
Yeah.
But at the college level, these moms must take a back seat.
Yeah, they're way too much into it. Yeah, I know my daughter will say some sex things, and I was like, I don't want to know. Don't. That's way too much. And I'm a boomer, so like we really didn't talk about any of that shit. My mom didn't tell me anything. Even Marci's mom was way more open about, the pill and things. Like I had no freaking idea about any of it. I'm winging it for sure.
They're very open, aren't they? They're very open about it.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
All the
I
details.
love that. I love that
too.
But it is like you have to check yourself. You have to be like, okay, well, we're talking about this, and yes.
No
Like,
sweat, not sweating over here.
yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm all good. Yes, say more.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that whole line of just the listening and the questioning. Ask questions to understand. That is something that I think I've really made some progress in, because I think I used to always feel like, especially in that mom thing, because this is more how I was raised, like I'm supposed to know, I'm supposed to understand, I'm supposed to be the one who doesn't make mistakes. And so now I'm in a place where I can be like, well, say more about that, and that's a Brene Brown. Say more, tell me more, because I don't understand. And so instead of pretending like I got it, I'm like, you know what, I don't get that. Say, tell me more and let them talk more. And then the other piece of that was a revelation for me, because I wasn't raised this way, is to be able to say, you know what, I really screwed up there. I'm sorry I didn't handle that well. And, I apologize, and, help me to do better. And my kids, as I said, one's going to be 30 next month and the other is 27. But yeah, it coming to that has, like, our relationship is fantastic. Like I love my relationship with my kids. Now, these are like some of my favorite times. And so I say that also to give hope to the moms of teens and the dads of teens, because those years were hard. They really were hard. And I'm not saying it's easy now, but there's like a coming back when you handle it well. Even if your kids are, they kind of pull away and they do what they need to do. When you've made this safe place, you have a healthy attachment where you've created that they know you're a safe place. They come back. And then and what's most wonderful now is that my kids like to hang out with me and my husband, and we do things, and their friends come and we all hang out. And oh my God, I'm having the best time of my life. So
I think you said something so important there, and I can't believe I didn't touch on this. And that's, to me, the number one thing out of this whole conversation is that we really want to create that open door policy. So our kids, so in my book, because it's called Pickleball Parenting, because I've been so humbled in the game of pickleball. So I use all these examples, but in the game of pickleball, you're not supposed to be in the kitchen. And my play on words is use your kitchen as your safe space, and always let your kids know, and their friends. I mean, you might be that mom where the friends come over. People, they need to know that they're safe. They're not going to be judged. You're not going to talk about it with the other moms, that you're just there to listen. And like, we just don't have enough of that, because, listen, as parents, we can't help but be invested in the outcome of a conversation. So it is very hard to be a parent and hear a conversation and not step in and be a little judgy and try and fix it and make it better. But all they want is for you to listen to them. And so if you have that open door policy, I think it's the number one thing we can do for our kids and their friends.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. And you know what? That feels, to me, that's one of the places where my heart is, like, to be the one in someone's life, especially when you see someone else who's not getting that in their home, like now I'm going beyond my kids, but other friends of theirs or other people who just
Mhm.
you see they have that wound, and to be able to be the non-judging, open person who just lets them show up and then says to them, you didn't deserve that. You deserve better than that. You just as you are, you're perfect. And it's some of my teaching and my background to be able to remind people of that, because I had to remind myself of that. But the reaction to that when people haven't had that is the most heart opening, lovely thing to see in someone else. And when you're able to bring that, it's such a gift and it feels amazing it's good for them, but man, it comes right back. It feels so good to see someone hear that maybe for the first time from you and feel that.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree.
it's the you talked about all different components of this, but it truly is the modeling, right? From the communication that you just spoke about, right? Of
Mhm.
like, okay, this is what I heard you say. Okay, your daughter and son are growing up. They heard their mom doing this, and now they're doing that in their adult relationships, right? Like all these things, like Marcy
Yeah.
staying open with her kids and having this loving family, that's all modeling for them to be these adults, right? And so I think, kind of the bottom line of all this is, we didn't have a lot of models. Especially my generation, you didn't model this. And so much of what Marcy and I get is, kickback now, like, oh, you're too easy on kids. They want the old, beat them up and they'll be fine. Like, right. There's a lot of that
Yeah.
still, unfortunately, and actually kind of coming back to that, which is bizarre because we know that clearly did not work. But I think
No.
it's this, it's the conscious parenting. It's just parenting a whole lot different than probably we were trained. And it's a lot of unraveling for those of us who are older going, yeah, like I don't think I want to do this with my kids. I want to do it different. And maybe we kind of got a late start in it because we
I
didn't
think
know.
you're right. I think you're
Yeah.
100% right. And what's interesting is I also see a lot of people, so Gen Xers, and then also the Gen Zs, there's a lot of estrangements. I don't know if you guys have encountered this, but there's a ton of estrangement. And
Yeah.
that's happening because, again, Marcy, of what you initially said, where you said if you recognize something that you did and you say, I'm really sorry about that, so many parents parent with their ego and they
Yep.
just have to be right.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
say constantly when I work with a mom and a daughter, if I feel like the mom is wrong and I'm working with her, I'm like, listen, do you want to be right? Or do you want a
Right.
relationship with your daughter? Because
Yes.
Mhm.
it's so, listen, we're parents for the first time too, right? Every one
Yes.
of us that are going through, like, we're parents for the first time, they're our kids for the first time. And it's hard for them to understand that we are going through this together and we're going to make mistakes. So we have to give each other grace. But for a
Yes.
parent to be able to say to their child, when I did X, Y, and Z, I'm really sorry. I really mucked that
Yes.
up. But we just don't have enough of that right now. Because we do,
Yeah.
listen, one of the biggest things I think we mucked up, me too, is like with the emotions. We just like, stop crying, you're fine, or whatever. We never said
Mhm.
like, it's fine. Show your emotions. That's so important. They are not
Yes.
taught emotional regulation by us in that case or in school. And I feel so badly about that.
I
Hopefully that
know.
Yes.
generation is getting it more, but for us
Yeah.
to be able to apologize and say, hopefully you'll do better, that's all we can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. That's why
Yes.
that is 99% of every conversation we have on the Warrior Parent podcast. I'm just going to say that. Number one, it's an inside job because it kind of comes back to us and the
Mhm.
things that we're still learning. But number two is just being open and being able to say, I'm sorry and I'm not the perfect parent and I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It literally is that simple. If we can just be honest about those things, we'll be fine. Our
Yeah.
kids will be fine and they'll make it through this crazy time in our world, right?
Agreed.
But man, yeah, we're running out of time. I like it. We could go on and on and on
Yeah.
here all day. But
And so often we have these conversations where we're like, oh, you need to come back. So I feel like we've
yes.
touched on so many things, Randy, that we'd love to talk about, menopause being one of them. And then just more of this, what are things that people can do to create this more holistic, open, loving environment in their homes so that their kids feel safe to go out and do the things, but that again, they come back, like all of this. So I hope we'll have you back. I hope you'll be available to do that, because
I would love
you've
to
got a
come
lot
back.
to
I would
share.
absolutely love to come back, because that's what the whole pickleball parenting playbook, what that is it's a
Yes.
really funny book. It's very self-deprecating, right? About me and how much I've been humbled on the court. Like
Yes.
just this morning, I like got pickled on my last game. I have a cut on my eye because I got nailed. And I said to them as I was running off the court right before this, I go, you know what, ladies, I'm using this today because this is the number one thing you can do, is like learn to lose with grace. And so the whole thing just
Yes.
teaches, you know, it's okay to lose. Even if you played your best, you're still gonna lose, and you're still gonna be okay. So I would love to
Yes.
come back and continue this. This
Oh
was
my
really
gosh.
fun.
So when
Yeah.
does your book come out? And
That's
again,
the
give
question. If
Oh.
I had the answer to that, it's a long process.
But it is pickleball parenting.
Pickleball parenting
Love it.
playbook, and hopefully, you know, at some point within the next year. It takes a while.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yes.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it
Well, you got to
does.
come back certainly when the book
When
is
it's yes.
For
when it's
sure.
out, but before then, promise. And
Yes.
let's stay in touch. Thank you so much, Randy. You're awesome.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, ladies, so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Hey, warrior moms. As we started this podcast, we had determined that part of what we were going to do is to create a community. So we have decided to take it to another level, and we have started our own Facebook community in addition to the Warrior Parent podcast, and it's called
From Chaos to Calm, a sanctuary for moms. Here's what it looks like. It's on Facebook right now. Please go and join it. And just to let you know, we're going to create our Blue Sky accounts right now. We're getting prepared as we watch this weird stuff go on in America. So we may be shifting the whole group to Blue Sky. Just be aware that we got you. We're going to start here. If this turns out to be not a safe place anymore on Facebook, then we will shift over. But what we're creating is a safe space where moms can show up and get information, get support, talk to each other about the things you're going through with your kids, the things you went through with your kids, maybe get some advice from moms, but also other experts. We're going to invite all of our guests and experts to join the group. I hope you will too. This is a place where you can show up and be seen and be heard and be safe. Mom's got you.
Nobody trusts anyone more than moms. So let's do this.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today's journaling prompt is, what I love about myself is. So get out your journal, get out a piece of paper, use your phone, and write those words. What I love about myself is, and then start writing, folks. Don't be modest. This is just for you. This is for you to acknowledge and feel gratitude for the things that you like about yourself. Start where you can, and I encourage you to keep adding and adding. Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Veeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.